What's up, Raider Nation? This is your man Cliff Thornton from the Raider Fan Podcast. You already know. Raiders played, and it's the same thing week in, week out. It's Raiders lose. But I will say this. They played good football today. I mean, yesterday. They showed a little bit of heart, and they really played a good Housten team. You know what I mean? The defense really stepped up, and I think it held them just to one touchdown. The difference in the game, let's talk about it. Geno Smith, pick six, cost us 7 points. We lose, 21-23? It's very difficult to win games when you're constantly turning the ball over. But, at some point, when does that stop? I've been saying this on the podcast for months now. Bad teams find ways to lose. Good teams find ways to win. And the Raiders haven't figured out how to win yet. They started off strong with the one win against New England. But other than that, it's been vanilla. I like to see something more out of this team, but I don't think we're going to get it with Pete Carroll. Offensive line's bad. Pete Carroll's kid is the offensive line coach. Geno Smith is bad. It's Pete Carroll's man. It's his guy. He wanted that quarterback, so we got him, and this is what we're paying. This is what we got dealt with. So at least the defense was consistent. I would like them to see that, make stops when we need to, but that's just not the Raider way. They need to bring in a head coach that's really going to motivate this team. It's really going to get the fan base back on board. It's really going to get these guys excited. I know we all saw the sidelines. He's chest pumping, after a turnover. After a 3-0. And I get that, and that's good, at that moment. But I also saw the frustration at the end of the game. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Geno Smith is where he is. 16 for 23, 201 yards, 2 touchdowns. But it's the interceptions that are killing us. Interceptions that's killing his career. I mean, if you look at it, he leads the league in interceptions again. Still, he's been doing that all year. It's really bad. I liked what I saw out of Ashton Genty, 24 carries, 128 yards and a touchdown. When we feed that guy, he shows up. 1 reception, 60 yards, a touchdown. He scores 2 touchdowns yesterday. So when we feed him, he's there. When we don't feed him, we look even worse. Brock Bauer, 5 receptions, 33 yards and a touchdown. Trey Tucker, 4 receptions. I don't remember what the yards were. No sacks, no interceptions, but the defense did show up and make big stops when we needed them to. But they weren't just, they can only be as consistent as possible. My prediction is Pete Carroll is going to be fired at the end of the season, and rightfully so. I hope we hold on to the defensive coordinator, but I think he's going to end up jumping ship. I know there's a lot of rumors out there what coach to bring in, and he's going to have to bring in his quarterback because it's not Geno Smith. What we're seeing around the league is the head coach has a good relationship with the offensive coordinator, but they both have a really good relationship with the quarterback. I hate to mention his name, Josh McDaniels. Not a good head coach, but he's a very good offensive coordinator. Look what he's doing with Drake May. So that's what we need. That's what the Raiders need. Instead of going the same route, different coach. It's very difficult to build anything. I know Pete Carroll wants to build something. He wants to revamp everything, but you've got good players. Pete Carroll does have good players. If you're listening to this podcast, you've got good players. You're just not coaching them up well. It's just who you're bringing in to be coaches are just not getting it done. We're the worst team in the league. This was the best game that I've seen in a long time out of the Raiders, and it wasn't good enough. So Yeah, so I think Pete Carroll's gone. I think rightfully so. I just don't think he's got what the Raiders need. He may be he may be a good guy. I don't know him. He's a good coach probably, but he just doesn't fit the Raiders' mystique. The Raiders' mystique is hard hitting, in your face type of a program, type of an organization. You need that type of a character out of a coach. And there's one name I'm going to mention it. It's John Gruden. I know he had he's still battling with the NFL, and hopefully that he can actually come back and he's able to coach. He's exactly what the Raiders need. Maybe another coach, Jack Del Rio. I liked his attitude. I like what he brought to the program. But we need an offensive coordinator that's playing today's football. That's slinging the ball. But I want to run that rock. You know what I mean? We've got Ashton Genty who proved you can do it. So we need the coaching staff to actually make that happen. Greg Olsen is doing a really good job with someone else's playbook. He's changing a couple things up. I'm sure he's adding his stuff. And you can see, it does take a little while, but you can see his handprint on this offense. It looks a little more crisp. We're throwing the ball down the field, finally. We're not just doing these checkdowns. Don't get me wrong, the 60-yarder wasn't, 60 yards in the air, but we were able to throw the ball down the field. Running Brock Bauer up the seam, down the field, Get the ball down the field, get the linebackers to back up, get them safeties to understand we're not afraid to throw this football. So I would hope we would continue that. We're playing against another bad team, the Giants. But we did that against Cleveland and got beat. So this is not a really guarantee win, but this I think is a must win. I think it's coming off of this week where they played really hard. Go into the go play the Giants next week and get a W. The fan base needs it. These players need it. This organization needs it. Because this experiment with Geno Smith, I'm sorry, he's going to get most of the blame because he's making most of the mistakes. Go back and look at that interception. It was one of the worst interceptions I've seen in this year, and he's got a lot of them. That was just bad, and we can't overcome that. He can't overcome an interception and then go down the field and throw it in for a touchdown or eat up enough clock, get in there to score to win the game. He's just not that guy. So I'm thinking this. I think John Gruden comes back, or his name is going to be there. Who's his guy? And a lot of people are going to be like, no, wait a minute. Derek Carr. He's the best quarterback that we've had since Derek Carr. We can go get a first round draft pick, number one pick, and be the quarterback. They don't always pan out. We've had first round picks. We had the number one pick in quarterbacks, and they were busts. It's this organization that needs to scout better. They need to draft better, and they need to coach better. That's what you need to bring in, Mr. Davis. Please bring in somebody that can coach this team. We got good players. They just need to be led. So hopefully that can happen. I'll go coach. I've coached football. I've coached high school football. I'll just jump over college and get right into the NFL and help out. But it's difficult being a Raider fan in New England because you got the Patriots, and here they are again. First in their division, and here I am, a Raider fan living in Rhode Island, which is right next to Massachusetts. So it's very difficult to just yell out Raiders all the time. But I do it because I'm just a Raider fan. I'm a diehard. So, but I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Pete Carroll probably gets fired, yes or no? And what head coach do you think the Raiders will go after? Is it John Gruden, or do you have someone else in mind? Put your comments in the comment section, and let's talk about it. But for now, like always, let's go Raiders.